Thank you everyone for joining this evening, and I'm again very happy to be spending this evening with all of you. It's a very interesting topic, and you probably have heard this saying, which is sort of a combination of a few words from Bible. Ask and you shall receive. And first, when it's that's it, like there's not more to that line there, and it's like it cannot be it. It seems too simplistic, and to a certain extent we feel that maybe it's too good to be true. Like you ask and you receive. There is no stars or there are no conditions to it. And in funny way, if you see, like if we look at Master's life, we also see that many of those things are actually true in his life also. Like if you remember the stories when Master was trying to establish his work, just while walking, he saw a building and he felt maybe we could have this building for the work. And not only that building became part of his, all the support, like the huge amount of sum was granted to him. He asked and he received. You go to Swami Kriyanandaji's life, many occurrences are such where they needed something, they asked and they received. Now, in that same enthusiasm, many a times we probably would go and ask, but the experience probably you will agree to with me that says that we don't receive. And it's not that we are actually asking for something more. We're devotees, no? So we obviously won't just say, you give me a car and then put the same axiom behind it. But even something like Moshmi knows, we are looking for a center. No, we can pray, ki Mount Washington, Master, you got Mount Washington. Give us something, maybe a little humble, but like please as big as that. But we don't get it. No, then we see like maybe there is a star into that sentence somewhere, but you don't find a explicit star. But there is something. You see, like there are not many words there. It's like ask and you shall receive. Well, you shall is just English language. So there's ask and receive. Like we're asking, but we're not receiving. So what is it that is missing? And that is where the question comes, like who is asking? I probably have shared this, funny story before with you, like a devotee, just like us, no? He wanted to pray very hard, wanted some guidance from Divine Mother. No? Which way should I go, this way or that way? And he felt that this is probably the way. So, but he wanted the Divine Mother's assurance. So he's praying fervently. Somebody please answer. I feel this is the way it should be, but do you agree? Please give me like a sign or something like that. And I believe there was some earnestness to that prayer. So while he was just fervently praying, finally someone responded. He says, my dear child, I think you're wrong. You should go this way. Now, for a moment, that devotee was very happy because just the answer was received. The problem is the answer wasn't what he was expecting. It's like after the pause, said, can I have a second opinion? And not just funny way, not just story. I find myself it is too. When I'm sort of in two minds, I tend to feel, okay, maybe I should just ask Divine Mother. And I do this coin toss on, these days I don't have a coin, so I go to Google and ask Google to do a coin toss for me. Now, if the coin toss does not go in my favor, then the next thing is maybe I'll give 3 chances. Then the 3 becomes 5, and by that time I realize I am going to not follow anything. The Divine Mother wants, I am stuck. What is the problem? And in a very remote connected way, I'll say Ki Shri Yukteswarji is one of his sentences. He says, a consciousness which is asking the question is incapable of understanding the answer. And he quotes it in a much larger way, but in our discussion is also very relevant. What is saying is we're not receiving, could be a hint for us. Generally, what do we do? Okay, maybe my prayer, I have to change it, or I have to put more intensity into that prayer. But even before that, if we choose to look at from what space that prayer is coming from, who is praying? And I don't want to make it very esoteric. Most likely, you'll find what we are praying for, it is coming, that prayer is coming from our conditioned existence. Meaning what? I have I have understood something, I want this from life. Now, maybe I'm relying on my knowledge, I'm relying on some things I have learned, I'm relying on what I've experienced so far, and I've sort of also know there could be some genuinity to it also. So it's not necessarily purely, but if you could at least identify that what space is this prayer coming from, or this ask coming from, and if you can identify that it is coming from my own mind, if it is coming from my own condition, there is no guarantee that it is going to be received. And actually, if we ask and we don't receive, that's actually a good outcome, because it tells us one thing, an important part as a devotee, what we can learn in this whole axiom, in this truth of sentence, is to learning to discern when we are asking, what inside me is asking for this question. Many a times we say, na, I went to a question, for example, in satsang, we recently had Jyotish and Devi ji coming and then having many satsangs with all of us. So we go with a lot of questions. And all of a sudden, that energy of satsang is there, and over half an hour, 1 hour, now the time for question answers have come. And all our questions have sort of, no, I don't feel like asking that question anymore. What happened? The question is still there. And if you go home, actually, we say, oh my goodness, I should have asked that question. It comes back again. But in that moment, what happened? It's just that that is question which was just coming from our own mind. I want to improve my own understanding. Yeah, I want to improve my own knowledge. Outcome of that is also sort of a projected. And we want a particular projection. Ask, where do we want to ask from? We want to ask not from the space of ego. So when we identify this like one by one, there's a very beautiful metaphor in Mahabharata. We say, no, there is a Bhishma is the character represented by ego. And if you see towards the end, a ripened ego is where, which is represented Bhima lying on that bed of arrows, where the ego is surrendering. Meaning what? In our own self, when we understand ki these all thoughts which are coming to me is all born of my own mind, all born of my own thinking, my own expectations, my own understanding, experience, all of it, if we are able to put on that bed of arrows, that is a beautiful surrender. I'm sure if you'll resonate at different times in our life, we get desperate to find some answer. Like nothing that we try is working. We pray, we try this, with that, nothing is working. And at that desperation, sometimes we care, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I want, doesn't matter what other people think. Just let's find what needs to happen in this particular moment. Have you felt like that? And these are the moments you see, like we sometimes do get the real clarity. I'm sure, I hope every one of you will have at least one such moments. What is the crux of that moment? The crux of moment is you just didn't care what you want, you didn't care what the world wants, not your parents, not your spouses. Does not matter, just the truth to know what needs to happen. And that is the space of surrender. You say we use this word surrender like as if like we're lying on the bed of arrows and like, please, divine must do what you want. No. Yes, something needs to be thrown away from us. But in that desperation, there is also an urgency to find the truth, whatever it is. And there is a readiness to accept it and work on it, act on it, right then and there. Divine Mother brings such situations to us so that we understand it, get the glimpse of it. As a devotee, we could live this. You see, like the moment we create this space, how beautiful it would be. We're not living a conditioned existence, but we are living in freedom. And then from that space, anything is asked, is provided. What makes masters masters? It's just that they were not some very special beings in a outward sense, as we say, but it's just that they understood this very well. They were empty. Empty of what? They did not have any experiences in life? Yes, absolutely, they did have. They recognized they had memory. They could recognize all their devotees, all their disciples. They had experiences with all of them, but they did not let any of those come in the way of what needs to happen. So when we remove the glasses, glasses of what? Which basically I cannot remove this glass. But when we remove the glasses which condition the way we look at things, all of a sudden there is a clarity, there is space. And this spaciousness, we are connected to nothing but our own higher self. And in that space, what is the ask remains, and ask is like, Divine Mother, what are we going to do? And that answer could come as a let's go and buy the next Mount Washington, or very simple thing, I just go for a walk. Doesn't matter the outcome of it, but in that answer, we have a readiness to execute it. The fulfillment is already there, both in the question and the answer. So I just want to end with giving you this thought. Keep asking. Don't stop asking, because sometimes the mind gets little afraid of this kind of a satsang, and then they go quiet for a few days, afraid of asking questions. No, 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 he will catch me or she will catch me. Let the questions come. We're not judging. Don't be judgmental. The judgment is an even worse category. But the moment you allow this flow, we will have this capacity of discriminating who is asking the question. Let the questioner come. Keep talking, keep talking. And we do it for sometimes our friends also, when they are in pain or when they're like, okay, tell me more, tell me more. And what we are trying to see, we're trying to find the root of that. Same thing when you go, this question may come very, very shrewd. Our minds are sometimes they're also hard fed, but as long as they're rooted in ignorance, there is no guarantee of any response. When we look at that question, we can look at the questioner, many layers will go on. And if it is actually coming from a very pure space, you shall see it shall be answered. And not only answered, it shall also be supported by the providence. So with that, I'll take a pause. Let's just close our eyes. And just the same way we're talking about, just empty ourselves from all expectations of our own sake, expectations that are put on us by families, by society, by our own understanding of this teaching for the moment. Divine Mother is present in us at this very moment, in every one of us, those who are healthy bodily, mind, those who are not very healthy bodily in their mind, still equally present. And let's demand that intelligence. And that's how we pray. As a part of that intelligence, that let that intelligence be revealed in each of his children. Some glimpse, some tangible understanding, some tangible touch that each of the child gets in this very moment. Let's rub our hands together. Let's chant Om 3 times. Oh, oh, oh. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.